And welcome to the Barry Foster Show, originating from the Ridge Florida Studios in the City of Charm, beautiful downtown Avon Park. I'd like to remind you, if you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions for our program, you can drop us a line at the Barry Foster Show at gmail.com, or just tell us in the comments below. Check out our YouTube page at the Barry Foster Show Daily. We'll be putting up new programming regularly. And subscribe to our YouTube page. Join our pages at the Barry Foster Show on Facebook and Instagram. That'll be very helpful as we head towards our first 100 subscribers here. And we are here in the city of Avon Park with Jamie Bateman, someone I've known for a long time about Florida Homesteader magazine. And Jamie, good to have you with us, dear.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
I've known you since what, at the hospital first, right?
Yes, I was first learning to walk.
And then you went from the hospital over to the college.
I did.
And then you and your husband decided to take your retirement and go homesteading?
We decided that we were going to buy the farm, and so we did. And we are now homesteaders. We love every minute of it.
You're kind of south and west of Sebring? Is that pretty?
Yes, yes.
Was it a farm when you bought it, or was it just acreage when you bought it?
It was just acreage with a cute farmhouse on it. It was fully loaded with as many palmettos as you can imagine, and we got in there and just started clearing some property, adding fence. And there's one thing about fencing and farming is that you are always fencing. And so we, to this day, we're still fencing. But we got in there, started clearing, and a lot of folks will tell you that the first animal to the gateway to a homestead is a chicken, and ours was actually a miniature donkey. And then came the chickens.
Okay.
So we added about a month and a half after we moved in. We brought in a donkey and kept growing from there.
So did you use like a bush hog to take all the vegetation out of there?
Billy did it all. Billy's my husband, and he got out there with his little tractor and started pulling up palmettos and everything you can imagine, clearing out some space.
So I've always heard that goats make a great land clearing, and they do their own fertilizing while they're at it. But does the donkey also do? Does it eat the vegetation, help keep it down a little bit?
Yeah, it does. It'll clear out the grass. I tell you, if you want a pasture cleared out, put a donkey on it. They will take it down to the dirt.
Really?
Yes, they love it. They will tear it down, and goats do a great job too, though.
So you started with a donkey. Did you use it to pull the plow? I mean, or is it just like a pet?
He was our pet. That was one of the things Billy had always said. When we got property, he always wanted a donkey.
What's his name?
His name is Buckwheat.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Because it's the most famous donkey I know was owned by the Little Rascals, and his name was Algebra.
Yeah.
And Stymie would always say, "Come on, Algebra, this is no place for you," because it was always getting in places it shouldn't be. But you started with a donkey, and then how many chickens followed that?
To date?
Well, let's start with the first load.
The first load was only 6.
Did they make more little chickens, or
No,
did you buy them?
We bought them.
You bought them.
Mm-hmm.
How many chickens have you now?
That's chicken math. So it's hard to count. Well, we have over 100 chickens now.
Are they all the same varietal of
No,
chickens?
no.
What kinds of chickens do you have?
We have probably about 25 layers, and then the rest of them are meat chickens.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a variety of layers that you can think of, from buff to Orpington to Rhode Island Reds, all of those types. And then the meat chickens are, of course, the Cornish cross, the type that you would normally see in a restaurant or in a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So we raise those.
So you have hens and roosters?
We have one rooster now.
One rooster.
Mm-hmm. And he loves his job.
Is he like a guard rooster? Do you have to fight him off when you go in?
No, he is great with us, but I tell you what, we've seen him fight off some hogs and different things like that before.
Really?
Yes, he has. He does great.
So other than the livestock, do you have wildlife that transverses the fence that gets in?
We've had the Florida black bear come into our pasture. In fact, I was in the pasture with our donkeys at the time, and they heard and smelled the bear before I even knew it was there. And it got between probably maybe 200 feet away from me. It was very close. And our female donkey actually got in between me and that bear and protected me. She would not let that Bear comes to me.
So you're saying donkeys?
We have
So
four.
now Buckwheat has some friends.
Buckwheat got a girlfriend. Her
Okay.
name is Satin Doll. She came just about 4 months after we moved in, and then shortly after that, they got married and
and made some more donkeys.
they made some more donkeys.
Oh, okay.
So now we have 2 of their offspring.
So now are you planning to trade their donkeys for more chickens or more other livestock? Or?
The first one that they had is a little girl. Her name's Clementine, Darlin Clementine. And then just recently we had a little boy, and his name is Beauregard. So he's not even a month old yet. So Clementine, I want to keep them, but Billy, he tells me all the time, we raise these to potentially sell to other people. I'm like, I know, but they're just so cute. It's hard to sell them.
Where we live, we can have coffee on the back porch, and someone within maybe a mile or so has a donkey, which we can hear.
It may be mine.
Periodically, you hear it going, and so you can hear them a good long ways away.
You can. In fact, one of the guys I used to work with, he lives in a subdivision across the pasture from where we live. And he was telling me, he said, I just moved into the neighborhood, and I was out literally sitting on his back porch one morning having coffee with his wife, and he said it was the funniest thing. They just heard this donkey. And I asked him, I said, well, what direction was it coming from? And he told me, I said, that's my donkey.
So you have donkeys and chickens and what else?
We have ducks, of course, the meat birds. We have quail. We have Boer goats and cows.
What kind of goats?
Boer.
What are Boer goats?
It's the meat goats that the kids
okay.
show at the fairs. Some say Boer, some say Boer.
Did you have to build a barn, or was
Yes.
there a barn already there?
No, everything we did, we built ourselves. We took time to do it, and that's one thing with a homestead, is that it is not a run in and rush and do something. It is a day-by-day, step-by-step process. So after the fencing was done, we started with the barn and just built from there. And we have expanded that barn 3 or 4 times now.
I was going to ask you, is it built with the idea that you may end up with more Boer goats than you had
Yes.
before? Or
Yes.
are there any other kinds of animals on the horizon, a sheep, for instance, or any other kind
Yes.
of...
Yes. So sheep specifically, when you start talking sheep, there's just like with goats, you have dairy goats and you have meat goats. With sheep, you have meat sheep and you have dairy sheep. Our goal is to actually have dairy sheep, which is one that is somewhat rare to Florida, but it is possible to do. We have friends over in Cocoa who live on 1 acre, and they have... Yes.
1 acre?
1 acre. It's amazing what they are doing. They're homesteading on that 1 acre, just miles off the coast of Atlantic Ocean, and they have dairy sheep.
See,
It's pretty cool.
we have approximately, where we live, approximately 1 acre.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 4 outdoor cats, which is a lot for that 1 acre, okay? I mean, I can't imagine having donkeys and Boer. Now, and where we do live, there are people with significant acreage that have cows. You can hear the cows mooing, okay? And you can hear, like I say, you hear the donkey. But it seems to me that would be challenging to have that many animals on that small of a piece.
They do it. They do an amazing job with it. They have every kind of bird you can imagine. Now, they don't have cows and stuff like that. They don't have they just have the dairy sheep, but they do a great job at it.
Now, have you gotten to the point, and we've talked a little bit about trading off some of the younger donkeys for some other kind of livestock. Are you gotten to the point where you can kind of trade this for that and let them make more, or are you buying everything at this point?
We're kind of, both. Like with the goats.
Yeah.
We are to the point now where we have a buck that he is going to be in our breeding program, because we do breed these, but we breed these goats for the purpose of the fact we want these babies to go on to be show goats for kids in the fair. We want to provide that ag education opportunity because we believe wholeheartedly that this has to continue, and we want to see that with future generations. So having those goats is a way that we feel like we can give back to kids in a way that they are able to learn what it takes to raise an animal, the details that go into it. Like Christmas morning, you're out there taking care of your animals first before you're opening up a present. It's just that type of life. And so we want to be able to give that type of education to them. So for that, we have developed a program, a breeding program, where we first had to get our goats from other people. Now we have our own, so we are able to develop our program and breed There goes the cattle truck
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So
We can breed now on our property.
how many acres do you graze your animals
We
out
have
of the
8.
8? Out of the 8.
I'd say probably about 6. That's the other cattle truck.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're here in the beautiful Ridge Florida Studios on Main Street, and yes, there's an incline here, and yes, you're going to hear traffic. But I was told if we just keep talking, nobody hears it.
Right.
But now you have a garden,
We do.
and so is there any kind of effort to keep the animals out of the?
Yes.
How much space does the garden take?
It's about a 20 by 30.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
it's not like an acre of garden.
No, not yet. Now, if Billy has his way, it will be that big, but not yet. We're
Now-
growing.
We're here in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and we've talked a little bit because I know, like, we have a little fruit forest out in the backyard,
Mm-hmm.
and we have Anna and Dorset,
Mm-hmm.
which are the two kind of apples that you can. You can't do a pink lady in
Right.
Florida. So are there certain kind of animals and certain kind of crops that you're looking at that will reflect the Florida climate that
Yes.
we have here?
Yes. So specifically, if we're going back to the sheep,
Yeah.
there's a certain type of sheep. Cracker sheep is one, and you can actually take a cracker sheep, and you can breed it with. And I do not remember the name, and all my sheep friends are going to.
Okay, that's okay.
They're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't remember the name." But there is a certain way that you can breed your animals in order to be able to sustain the heat and the humidity that Florida has. So yes, there is that. That is a component to that. So you definitely want it when you are looking into getting animals. You want to make sure that one, you have the type of area for them. You want to make sure you have the type of grazing options for them. What is it going to look like for climate? And you really want to do your research and make sure that not only is that animal right for you, but are you right for that animal? So.
Now, what kind of crops have you been growing out there on your acreage?
As far as garden-wise,
Yeah.
I mean, we've done okra, we've done zipper peas, kale, tomatoes. Man, we rockin' the tomatoes. We had a pig pen, and we would throw all of our scraps to the pig. And once the pig gained his wings and he found his way into our freezer, we let the pig pen rust, and it just popped up. And it was about a 20 by 20, just full of tomato plants.
Wow.
Best
Volunteers.
tomatoes ever.
Volunteers.
Best
you,
tomatoes
you know
ever.
what kind of varietals?
I had cherries, I had Romas, I had the big beef tomatoes, everything.
That's because I know that now you've done some videos of you've taken this produce and started to can
Yes,
it.
we do can it.
Other than tomatoes, that you made tomato paste out of?
Sauce.
I think? Sauce. What else? Did you have, and what else did you make?
So I've just recently canned up 2 bushels of zipper peas. I've canned 2 bushels of black-eyed peas. We've done 3 or 4 bushels of tomatoes to make all that tomato sauce. Another aspect of food preservation is freeze drying your food, and so we have a freeze dryer. So I had a bushel of corn that Billy cut all the kernels off of the cobs for me. That was his job. And then we took them all and we put them into the freeze dryer, and it just condenses it down, and it's great. And we put them in mason jars, and we're ready to go.
Well, now that we're in the summertime in Florida and being able to grow anything, I think okra and peppers is about it.
Okra and peppers are about it right now.
It's 5,000 degrees
It's
outside.
going to get too hot.
So is that what gave rise to your deciding, well, maybe I'll start a magazine while I'm not feeding buckwheat and tilling the tomatoes?
You get bored, you decide you want to look for a new passion. Yes,
Yes,
that's it. Yep.
So how did you decide to do this, and what are your plans? I think November is the first issue?
November's the first issue, yes. So this is truly a God thing, and I say that wholeheartedly. God is the reason why we are where we are today. Back in October-November issue of a local magazine, it's called The Heartland Living, and they featured our family. And it was, in fact, our grandson is on the front cover, a cute little cowboy, and it said Homesteading and Farming with the Batemans. And after that, it really just hit my heart and it hit my soul. And we have been homesteading for many years. One of the things that when you research homesteading, you get a lot of influencers, you get a lot of information from a lot of folks from across the country, but nobody was ever talking about Florida. So it was, I mean, you do have like your ag news and different things, those components, but nobody's telling their stories. And when you look at this homesteading movement that has just come like a tidal wave since 2020, you're finding all these resources. But again, everybody's talking about, hey, it's May. What are you doing for your spring garden? Where in Florida, we're wrapping things up. We're done. How do you grow a tomato in Michigan is totally different than how you grow a tomato in Florida. But that information is not really being out there because we are so different. We're so different from everyone else. And so I called Cindy Sebring Adams is the publisher, and I called her up one day and I said, I have the craziest idea, and she answered the phone. So
she's always you, so
yeah, and she did, and she answered the phone, and I told her, I said, I have the craziest harebrained idea, and so I pitched the idea to her, and she loved it. And not only did she love it, but she said to me that at that moment, or just prior to, she had even been praying about a way to advance or do something different to grow her publication options. And so it was, I really felt like God was stirring my soul. I really felt like he was putting the right people in my path at the right time. And it just kind of evolved from there. March, so that was back in October, November. And then March came along and an opportunity presented itself to where I could take this on the road and start full time. Let's do this. And so Billy and I took that opportunity and ran with it. And when I say God has been part of this, he's not just showing up, he's showing off. Because it's just every time I turn around, there's an affirmation, there's a phone call, there's an email, there's a Bible verse, there's something where God is showing up to say, you are on the right path and I got you for this.
So have you over the years now developed a kind of a network of friends of yours who raised this, that, or the other thing somewhere between Miami and, I don't know, Lake City or Tallahassee? Mm-hmm. I mean, because God love them, but the Panhandle's a whole different place.
It's a whole different place.
But generally the peninsula, we're in 9B, 10A, kind of, I think the line goes, they're moving it north of Lake Placid, but we're right there on the edge. So have you got a group of people now saying, yes, I would like to tell my story, or no, hey, look, Betty or John or Frank or whoever, we'd like to have you tell the story for other people to enjoy through this Homesteader magazine?
We launched this magazine beginning of May. And since then, we have had so many people that have reached out. Either we have reached out to them or they have heard what we are doing and have reached out to us. So we've got folks in Cocoa, Jacksonville, all around Jacksonville, some areas around Lake City, Groveland, Crestview, Pensacola, obviously Sebring, Lake Placid, south of here even. It's just, they're popping up all over the place. And they're telling us, we want our story to be told, but we also know somebody else who has a really cool story to tell. So we've got enough stories to tell that this magazine is going to be bi-monthly, and you're going to get about 4, maybe 5 stories in each issue. We have enough stories right now that we've got almost a whole year full.
Do you have a journal of, you know what you ought to do? You know what you ought to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you have a journal of articles? You know what you ought to do?
Yeah.
You ought to do this. You know, and mostly it's because I want to find out about it, and maybe you can find the person that's doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be good.
Have you found maybe some people with they're seasoned citizens who've been doing this for quite some long time?
Yes.
Say, you know, we were talking before we went on the air with my wife about recipes that her mother had and things that were lost. You have people who want to share skills, spinning and weaving, skills that they want to see that continue on through your magazine or your podcast or other ways.
The really cool thing about this aspect is that homesteading and or food preservation or whatever it is, with your animal care, it has been going on for generations. Hopefully it continues on for more generations. So when you have these conversations, you're meeting people who have done it for, like my mom, she's done it for 70 years. And then you meet people who, in fact, they're going to be featured in the magazine, Alyssa and Mike. And they moved from up north down here, and they have started a homestead. They had to learn what it was like. And she actually wrote a book to share and encourage other people. If you're just starting, you can do this. So we have had the opportunity to talk with people that are, just this past weekend, we were in Jacksonville at another homesteading conference. And I met so many people that have said, we are literally just bought the property. We are out there bush hogging. We are getting ready to build the fences. How did you do this? How did you do that? And so this network has been absolutely amazing. And it has been so beneficial because it's not just it's not just because you've been doing this for so many years that you are pro and that's all who we want to talk to. No, we want to share these stories and share these opportunities with so many people that they are out there learning that anybody can do this. And that's the goal. Like, that's the whole thing with homesteading. Homesteading is that self-sufficient mode that you are out there and you are doing it for yourself instead of dependent upon somebody else to do it for you. It's not to say that you can't support other people. You support your farmers, you support all that. But instead of buying the bread, bake the bread.
Are there how-to articles on how to start your homesteading? I mean, it would seem to me, and I know this because we don't exactly homestead, but we don't exactly not homestead, but we go to a lot of thrift shops, and we will find things that are very functional that people don't use anymore. Like, I know my wife has always been looking for a big kraut jar to make her own sauerkraut.
Right.
You know, and sometimes we find those, or you find canning equipment, and you find other things that, because kids don't cook anymore, they don't do anything. You can find this stuff that was made to last, and you can find it at thrift stores for dimes on the dollar, which helps you do more in your homesteading journey.
I love the old stuff. That stuff still works.
Amen.
You get anything that's for the most part. I mean, there are some companies out there today that you can buy some good quality items, you know, that are going to made to be last. But even now, I mean, your refrigerator, it's going to die. You buy it brand new, and 3 years later, you got to buy another one. You know, I want the old olive green refrigerator that my mama had back in the 50s and 60s. I want that refrigerator because that joker's still going.
And the thing is that those things were made to be repaired,
yes,
where new things are not. Have you found, are there homestead companies that are coming to you and saying, we'd like to advertise our canning lids?
Yes.
Or
there's a canning company, a canning lid company in Florida, USA made products. They are the best. So yes, we are finding, and that's who we want to support. If you are in Florida, obviously we want to support you. We want to showcase you. We want to share your products with others, because that's pretty cool that we are supporting. Not only are we telling the stories of other people, but we also want to support and share with other ones. If you were specifically, you don't have to be in Florida, but you know.
Have you run into any speed bumps, any roadblocks, things that have kind of slowed you down on this?
Oh, I think the only thing that has really kind of slowed us down just a little bit is because we're so new. And so when we're out there talking to advertisers, or we're out there talking to try to spread the word, you know, people are so eager and they're so excited about it, but yet they're also like, okay, can you show me exactly what you're going to be doing first before I commit to this or that? And that's going to come. I think that's really the only speed bump that we have had, you know, as far as that's concerned. But that comes with anything. That's just reputation and building up that network.
And so you started advertising this back in March. You're going to go have your first episode, your first edition in November. Are people now signing up? Are they going to the Florida Homesteader? And do they go to a website? Do they go to a Facebook page? How does that work?
Yes.
Exactly?
So we have a website. It's www.thefloridahomesteader.com. So you can go there, and when you are there, you can subscribe to our newsletter. You can also go ahead and purchase a 1-year annual subscription to the magazine, or a 2-year annual subscription. There's a little bit of a discount if you get it 2 years. But then also, as you scroll down that page, you're going to see, if you're an advertiser, your logo is going to be at the bottom of that page, and it's a clickable link that takes you to their website. So we want to, again, showcase that. But if you are a member, not only do you get the print version of the magazine mailed to you, you get the digital copy as well. So as a member, you can log onto the website. You can go and see that digital component of the magazine. So you can basically take the magazine. If you got your phone, you can take it with you. But then in addition to that, we are going to have our podcast and our YouTube. So it's going to be, you're going to hear the stories, you're going to see the stories, you're going to read the stories, you're going to feel the stories when you get that magazine. It's going to be all of that. So you can do all of that from the website. The other thing you can do from the website is if you have, you kind of talked about with your wife and those recipes and everything, you can share a recipe with us and we will feature a recipe for you. There's no charge to you for doing that, but we want your recipes. We want your grandma's recipes. If you have a really cool story that you are out there doing this homesteading thing, if you're living in an apartment and you are growing your herbs and your tomatoes from your little balcony window, and you're doing all your canning, getting all your food from your farmer market, I want to know your story. We want to tell it. So it's not just about the folks that have the acreage and have been doing it for a few years. We want the up-and-coming beginners who are doing this, because that is encouraging, and we'll share that with others to get others on board to do the same thing.
So you're going to be the hole at the bottom of the funnel,
Absolutely.
where all the information comes in and then goes in. So if you're a member, you not only get what's in the magazine,
Right.
the digital copy, it's a lot of other things, other networking that goes on. How do I deal with this problem? How do I'm raising bees, I'm raising chickens, I'm raising donkeys,
Yeah,
whatever.
all of that.
And
So if we are, for example, how do you raise your bees? If there's somebody that we're telling a story on, and we have that story that we're lining up to do that, if you have a question for that story is going to be on our podcast. Their information will be in those show notes or on the YouTube channel, or it's going to be on our social media. You will be able to access that information and connect directly to whomever that person is or that company and ask your questions and start building your own network as well.
is doing this magazine more difficult than actually homesteading itself? Combining all this information, is that more difficult than making sure that Buckwheat gets his ration of hay in the morning?
Oh, that's a toss-up. I don't know. Have you ever tried to chase down a donkey that's gotten out before? That can be challenging.
I've done a lot of things in my life. That would not be one of them. But are you going to share those stories as well?
Oh, yeah.
Buckwheat got out again?
Buckwheat's going to be, he's going to, we got some Buckwheat stories.
Have you mocked up the first edition? Will Buckwheat be on the cover? Will you have a cover shot yet for it?
We have a mock-up of it's our media kit story or image that we have already, but I don't have the front copy I don't have that front image just yet. But that's a kind of a cool idea.
You never know.
Yeah, I could
I'm
say
sure
Buckwheat sponsored by Barry Foster.
he would be very happy to pose for that. I
He
believe.
would. Oh, he would.
Yeah.
He's a poser.
Yeah.
He loves a camera. I was out there doing a video one day for our social media, giving away a basket, and he had to be in the background. Like, he just stood there and watched, and he hee-haws. And he
photobombed you.
Oh, he totally photobombs.
Yeah.
And he knows it. He sees the camera, and he'll put his face right up to the camera.
So Jamie, once again, for the folks who are listening to this and really want to find out, let's start with the website first. Where do they go on the internet to find you?
www.thefloridahomesteader.com is our website.
And then everything is there. And you also on social media, you have Facebook.
We have Facebook, and it's The Florida Homesteader. And then on Instagram, The Florida Homesteader. We kept it all the way.
There you go. It's all, and you're going to find out more. Listen, when you get ready to launch when the first magazine is on the tipping scales, ready to go, will you come back and talk to us?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. Thank you.
We would love to have you back.
Thank you.
This is fascinating, and Jamie and my wife have been having wonderful discussions about canners.
She's
and
going to be
everything
on my
else.
podcast.
Yeah. You've been listening to the latest edition of the Barry Foster Show, live at the Ridge Florida Studios located in the City of Charm, downtown Avon Park. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions for our program, just drop us a line at thebarryfostershow@gmail.com. Or you can put right in the comments down below. Make sure you hit like here on the YouTube page. You can go to the Barry Foster Show daily, as we'll be putting up new programming on a regular basis. And please subscribe to our YouTube page and join our pages at the Barry Foster Show on Facebook and Instagram as we continue our pursuit of truth, justice, and the American way. And we'll see you next time.